Yo. Welcome back to Raptors Flex Plus. I am your host, Kyle. Little round of applause for me. This is my first video that I'll be doing that is not Raptors centric. Hence why the name is Raptors Plus. The plus is supposed to identify just talking about other NBA storylines. So the biggest storyline in the NBA last night, preseason, by the way, was that number one overall pick, Victor Wembanyama out of France, was going up against the Oklahoma City Thunder and their second overall draft pick from last season, Chet Holmgren. And I just had to take the opportunity to just watch this game, see what the overall hype is for these two players, because unfortunately, Chet got injured last year in the pickup run. I think it was one with LeBron James. I forget exactly what it was, but he missed all of last season with an injury, right? I think they said it was a stress Jones fracture or something like that. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know exactly what that is, but I think it's something in the foot. And then Victor Wembanyama, right? They are crowning this guy as the next best prospect since LeBron James in 2003. So hell yeah, I'm gonna check that out because I'm an NBA guy. I like sports, but you know what I'm saying? I like my Raptors, of course. I love my Raptors, of course. But at the end of the day, before there were any Toronto Raptors, I was just an NBA fan, repping the Seattle Supersonics, to be honest, at the time. But that didn't carry over to the OKC Thunder. That wasn't once they left Seattle, the Raptors were already in Toronto, and I was already rocking with them, right? The Sonics were like my second team for a while, but now it's just a one team. All right. So I'm gonna get into a little bit on that topic, but before I do, please share, like, and subscribe. Your boy will appreciate it. Like I said, I'm trying to build up this channel to be one of the illest in the Raptors community, and I need people watching in order to achieve that goal. So I'm just gonna keep on dropping videos, and yeah, I'm gonna keep doing my thing, man. That's it. So big draft picks, big prospects, and when I say big, I mean these are some big men. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the tape, not the actual tape itself, but the measurements for these gentlemen, right? Victor Wembanyama, 19 years old. Chet Holmgren, 21. Okay. Height, Victor Wembanyama, 7'4". Jesus, that man is tall. Chet Holmgren, not to be outdone, 7'1". Victor Wembanyama, 210 pounds. Chet Holmgren, 195 pounds. Victor Wembanyama's wingspan, 8 feet. Chet Holmgren, 7'6" wingspan. These are some big, long, tall, lanky mans, eh? Big guys, yo. So I guess where that's some of the hype is because these gentlemen are also supposed to be, bigs that have guard skills, that have skills from beyond the 3-point line, amongst other things that you don't really expect in a lot of big men. You know what I'm saying? But this is like the new wave of big men. Like you're not gonna see these guys come in now, 280 pounds. There's a few of them in the league for sure, but this may be the new wave. You understand? So they went head to head yesterday, and I was just trying to take a look just to see what all the hype was about because Victor played in France. He was playing in the Pro League over there. And obviously, we don't really get those games on television. I'm not streaming it. I wanted to see what he would do when he got to the NBA. Right? He played a little bit of summer league, but the competition's a little bit different in the summer league. right? Because you're not going against starter caliber NBA players in the summer league. So that's why the intrigue is for me in the preseason to see what this guy got, right? And, that man did not disappoint last night, man. He did not disappoint, at least not for me. I was thoroughly impressed with Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren. These guys put on a show. That was a fun first half, man, just watching these two guys go back and forth at each other. Let's take a quick look at the stat line, okay? Victor played 19 minutes. He was 8 of 13 from the floor. He shot 2 of 5 from 3, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Had 5 rebounds, 2 of the offensive variety. No assists, which we'll get to. 2 steals, 1 block. Now, mind you, those defensive plays, we'll talk about them, but they were thoroughly impressive. 4 turnovers. Okay. 2 personal fouls. He was a 0 or even in the plus minus, and he scored 20 points. That's a pretty good debut for basically just playing 2 quarters and a half, we can say, for Victor Wembanyama. But it's not just in the stats. If you watch the game, you can watch the highlights. I'm sure it's all over X, it's all over Instagram, all over YouTube, wherever you go for your basketball news. It's gonna be there because that was the hype last night. And defensively is really where it was for me. Okay, this is a tall guy. He has to get down into his stance, but when he puts his arms out and shows his wingspan, or when he puts his arms up and shows his wingspan, it looks like a daunting task to get around this guy. Whether you're trying to, dribble around him, whether you're trying to, make up some room by having him chase you around screens. This guy's stride is like 2 of a regular person. Okay? Unbelievable. But when he does get down into his stride and he does get beat, his feet are quick enough and nimble enough to make a quick pivot, make up ground, and make a play. They tried to cross this man up, got to move into the right, had to switch back to the left, and the poor offensive player for the Thunder, I'm not sure who it was, but I got a little bit of advice for any NBA player that's going up against Victor Wembanyama, okay? And I never played in the NBA, but I'm just saying what I see, okay? If you manage to get around this guy and you're going to the rim, you better go with authority and try to dunk that shit. Because he's gonna swat that ball away because his 8-foot wingspan is gigantic. It's like Stretch Armstrong. And it doesn't take much for him to make up that ground because his strides are unbelievable and he has good feet. He is not a clumsy guy. At 7 foot, what'd I say? 7'4". My God, that man is a monster. So the Oklahoma City Thunder offensive player got around Victor and thought he had a nice clean layup at the basket. Victor sent that shit to the front row of the baseline. Wow. What what a player. That man is gifted with, the longest arms I've ever seen. He's gifted with good feet for a tall guy because sometimes these tall guys be a little clumsy. He's gifted with basketball IQ, right? Because you look for that type of stuff. You look to see how a player is defensively when you're 7 foot. Are you just the type of guy that can just, pack the paint and protect the rim? Or like I said, this guy's got guard skills, not just on the offensive end, but on the defensive end. I was, again, thoroughly impressed by this guy's ability. And another play, this guy's guarding on the wing, and someone that had the ball off ball tried to go towards the rim on a drive. Victor just reached, swiped the ball loose, got out into the fast break, and slammed it. But the reach on that play to just get the steal without fouling. Impressive if you've ever seen a play like that in your life. We've seen it, but like his arm just looked like it went from the 3-point line to the foul line. I don't even know how many feet that is from like the wing 3 to the foul line, but this man just swiped it. Unbelievable. I think Victor Wembanyama is worth the hype. However, there are some parts to his game where he may need to show me a little bit more because it's only the first preseason game. Now, one of the things that I would like to see more, and it's not even his fault, I think it's just the opposing coach's scheme to keep Victor out of the paint, but I didn't really see any post-ups on Victor. And maybe you're crazy if you do, because how are you going to get a shot over a guy like that because he can make up so much space? Like, your best chance is to get him moving or something and try to put up a shot over top of him. Now, you've seen some offensive players be able to get some shots over him on the wing, guarding the 3, but it's not like he didn't recover and contest the shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, the man can guard. The only thing I don't know is how well he can guard in the paint when you're going up against, bigger players like a Joel Embiid. Are they just gonna yam your food down there? You know what I'm saying? Put a shoulder into you, put a back into you, and then you just kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because he's only, what we say he was, 210 pounds, but 210 pounds at 7'4", I mean, you could see it just by looking at him. He's slender. He's not a big guy. But the other gifts that he has to be able to make up space and challenge shots makes him just he's a unicorn of a player, to say the least. To say the least. And his offensive game, all right? He got game on offense too. Now, looking at his shot chart, everything is pretty much packed into the paint. No real mid-range. He went 2 for 5 from 3, but he hit some nice threes. And the man jumps on those threes. That's not like a set shot 3 like my man Big Smooth Sam Perkins used to take. You know what I'm saying? We barely leave the ground. Like, this man, how do you block a 7'4" player that has an 8-foot wingspan and he's jumping? He's taking a jump shot 3. I don't think he will get blocked. Like, you're going to have to block him if, the pass is low and he needs to get the ball low and bring it up. Like, that's the only way you're going to block this guy. Or maybe from, someone coming in from the back of the play, making up ground. Maybe that defender was out of the play and he runs back into the play and just kind of gets him not at the apex of the shot, but like on the way up type thing, where it's like a block from behind. I just don't see it. So the man can shoot the 3. The man got handles, okay? He can break you down from the wing. He's nimble enough with his feet to do little spin moves and those types of things. And then he has agility. We saw the scoop, the spin scoop, and finish from the wing at the bucket. If that's not impressive for a 7'4" guy, I don't know what to tell you. But Victor got skills. All right? And if you're sleeping on him on the offensive rebound, the man just going to overtop you on the miss and finish on a free throw like he did last night. And I think that was on Chet Holmgren too. But Victor Wembanyama, man, Wemby, he's the real deal. He's the real deal, folks. The real deal. Now, there's parts of his game offensively that I'd like to see a little bit more as well. He didn't look too strong with his back to the basket. You know what I'm saying? He didn't look like he had a whole lot of post moves with his back to the basket. Now, mind you, this is just the first preseason game, so I'm sure we're going to see, a lot more of what Wemby has to offer. But, that's still a question mark for me in terms of what he's shown last night. But he's shown enough to me to realize that this guy is worth the number one pick, right? On his build, not just his build alone. In previous years, you have guys like Manute Bol and these guys, you know what I'm saying? Tall guys that can, get drafted, Ralph Sampson, not just based on their height, but, there's a few things that they can do well. And you look for them on the defensive end to be shot blockers. That's not Victor. He has a plethora of skills that made him worth the number one pick overall in the 2023 NBA draft. Right? Now, from a rebounding standpoint, I feel like Pop was trying to get some mismatches by not making Victor bang down in the paint because he was getting a lot of leakouts. He was getting a lot of leakouts where if the Spurs get that rebound, they're looking for Wemby down low against a guard or against a smaller forward, right? So if that's going to be some of their offensive philosophy, that's going to be cool. I would like to see how Victor, with his basketball IQ, determines when to leak out and when his team may need some help in the paint getting rebounds defensively. But that'll come. He's a rookie, but I am thoroughly impressed with Victor Wembanyama. Now, this video is supposed to be about Victor versus Chet. Okay? Chet had a really good game debut also. Now, mind you, he's not like the unicorn type guy that Victor is. But in previous years, if Victor Wembanyama wasn't in the league, they would probably say this guy has a unicorn skill set as well. He kind of reminds me of a young Kristaps Porzingis. Now, I think Kristaps was a little bit more aggressive down low with the finishes, right? He could dunk on you. But I think as Chet works on his body a little bit more and gets a little bit stronger, he may turn into that type of player. Like, to me, that's like his comp. The key thing for him is to not be like Kristaps and be on the bench in a suit. You gotta keep him healthy, right? And that's what kept him out last year. Like I said before, in the charity game with LeBron James and these guys, he injured his foot, didn't get to play 1 minute, not even 1 minute in his rookie season. And that could be a blessing in disguise, right? Because, he worked on his strength within that 1 year. He got the opportunity to work with NBA trainers, which, this is your profession now. So you're working around the clock on your game with professional coaches, which is not something that players get in college, right? The season's much shorter. You still got academics that you got to do. You may not have access to all of the nutritional things that professionals get, that now, as you take that year off, 2022-23, he was able to now get access to a nutritionist. And I think all those things paid off for him because I thought he played very well. When you look at his stat line, he went 7 for 10 from the field, including 2 of 2 from 3, 5 of 7 from the free throw line. He had 9 rebounds, 2 on the offensive end, 7 on the defensive end, 1 assist, okay? Um no steals, 1 block, no turnovers, which is amazing because he was also playing point forward last night also, right? The ball was in his hands, no turnovers, 1 personal foul. He was also even in the plus minus at 0, and he scored 21 points. So that's very comparable to what Victor's stat line was. Like, these two guys were balling last night, right? And what you see from Chet is he's very aggressive when he makes up his mind where he wants to go to the bucket. He was drawing fouls. He had some finishes around the bucket. He looked like, he doesn't look like the strongest guy when you just look at him, right? Because he's also slender, 195 pounds at 7'1", right? These guys are slender. But it looked like that 195 is some muscle because he was still banging down low. Now, mind you, it was just with Zach Collins, which, maybe not the strongest player in the NBA, but Zach Collins was putting in some work last night too. But anyways, this video is not about that. So you wonder how he's going to be able to hold up against bigger players, and especially as the season progresses, right? The dog days of January and February when it's cold outside and you got to show up to the gym and you got to play ball like against, a Jokic. Like, it's going to be a tough day. It's going to be a tough day for these slender guys. But, there's not a whole lot of Jokic's and Joel Embiid's and Nurkic's in the league. You know what I'm saying? There's not all these big guys. There are some. And you're going to have to be able to bang with them and use your skills in order to make life tough for them because you got handles. Chet got handles. And he has drive. So once you get them big men moving, you got to be quick with your decision making. And, with all them drives to the bucket, I was hoping that he'd have 1 assist. But it looked like he had 0 last night. But he got to the line 7 times, which is, that's a very good look for a young player. That means that he's being aggressive while still being able to go out there and shoot the 3, which he went 2 for 2 for as well. His shot chart was very much the same as Victor, right? Packed in the paint. That's where you're putting in most of your work. You got some free throws, and then you had a couple threes. But for a young player, I would say that's very impressive decision making. Because not like you turned over the ball either. So that just means that you're taking high percentage shots, right? You're not turning the ball over. You're getting to the free throw line, putting the opposing team's defenders, whoever's defending you, in possible foul trouble. That's a good game. And he was setting up the offense as well. So these two guys yesterday, I thought, played very well. You know what I mean? One play that really stood out for me with Chet Holmgren was an alley-oop play where he threw that thing down with authority. All right? So, yeah, 195 pounds, but the man's a tough kid. Balling. So, anyways, I say all that to say this. That was just the first preseason game, so it really doesn't mean nothing. But I thought it was interesting to watch these two young players play in their first NBA action against real NBA players. And they've had solid games. You got to give it up to them. They played well. So, looking forward to see how this carries into the regular season. These are the top 2 Rookie of the Year candidates. Chet is still eligible for that because even though he was drafted last year, he didn't play any minutes last season due to the injury. So, There may be some other players that may have something to say about that, but based on what I saw last night with those two guys, one thing's for sure is that both of them will be in the conversation with whoever else is in the conversation, right? So, anyways, I think that's it for today, man. I think that's it for today. So I appreciate anyone that is listening and watching this video. Please share, like, and subscribe. You know the flex. It's your boy Kyle, and I'm out.